Good morning, everyone. Namaste. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's take a moment to become present. So find a nice, comfortable seated position with your back of your spine and neck nice and tall, opening your chest, opening your heart, your diaphragm. And gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. Soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is celebrate. Today is the first national holiday of Juneteenth. So we're going to celebrate that. Celebrating Happy Father's Day tomorrow to you fathers and grandfathers. Happy Solstice, celebrating that at 11:31, either 10:31 or 11:31 tomorrow night is when the solstice happens. And then also then Monday on the 21st is Happy International Day of Yoga. And that's actually what we're going to focus on today. So International Day of Yoga came about on September 27th, 2014. The Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, addressed the United Nations General Assembly and proposed an International Day of Yoga. He said, and I quote, "Yoga is an invaluable gift of India's ancient tradition. It embodies unity of mind and body, thought and action, restraint and fulfillment, harmony between man and nature, and a holistic approach to health and well-being. It is not about exercise, but to discover the sense of oneness with yourself, the world, and the nature. By changing our lifestyle and creating consciousness, it can help in well-being. Let us work toward adopting an International Day of Yoga." So at the United Nations, 177 nations co-sponsored the resolution, which was a record number of nations coming together to co-sponsor a particular resolution. And then that December 2014, the resolution was adopted without a vote. It was unanimous. The solstice, June 21st, was designated as the International Day of Yoga. So 6 months later, the first International Day of Yoga happened, June 21st, 2015. And that was hosted by the Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, in New Delhi, India. And that class, that yoga class, made history. It had 35,985 students representing 84 nations There were women and men and children, and even the prime minister came down after he made his presentation and came down within the group of people that assembled, the 985,000 people. He came and became part of that group and was led through 21 poses. So today we're going to reenact that class, go through those 21 poses. So I'm going to start on the mat, and we're all going to start in a standing position, and you may want to have a block with you, or if you don't have a block, a roll of toilet paper has been used, I think pretty successfully for a block. So let's meet on the mat. So we'll go through a few of what we usually do each class and incorporate those into the 21 poses. So we'll start with mountain pose, and we'll go through the mountain essentials. So have your feet about hip width apart for this one, toes pointing to the edge, straight edge of the mat, legs are strong, knees are soft. You tuck your navel in toward your spine, back is nice and long and tall, shoulders relaxed and rolled back. Your chin is tucked back, top of your head, crown of your head is reaching to the sky. And that's mountain pose. So we'll start with a few exercises for our head. So we're going to drop our chin down to the chest and just relax your arms by your side. So tuck your chin down to your chest. Then inhale, bringing your head up and gaze up to the sky, or ceiling in our case. I was wishing to be outside, but it rained this morning, so the deck's wet. And then come back down, bring your chin back down to your chest. Inhale, bring it back up to the sky. And then back down to your chest. Then really relax your shoulders. Just kind of focus on releasing any tension you may have in your shoulders. And then dip your left ear toward your left shoulder. Just go ever so slowly, so gently. And inhale, come back up. And then we'll do that on the right side. So dip your right ear to your right shoulder. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, left ear to left shoulder. Inhale, come back up. And right ear to right shoulder. And come back. Inhale, come back up. And then we're going to turn our head to the left. So just look over your left shoulder. And then come back to center. And then turn your head to the right to look over your right shoulder. Inhale, come back. Exhale to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale to the right. Inhale to center. And then we're going to dip our chin down to our chest and then draw a circle with our nose. So just try to make a nice round circle with your nose. Coming back to center. And keep your shoulders really relaxed so it reduces any strain on your neck. When you come back to center, reverse the direction. And one last time, circling the other way. There, and relax. So the next pose is something I steal for our classes often. This is where I got it from. I call it the International day of yoga twist. So bring your arms out at shoulder height in front of you. And then we're going to take our right hand and make a semicircle, 180 degrees, bringing it around to the back, and then bringing your left hand to your right shoulder. And then follow your hands with your eyes, and then come back to center with your right hand, meeting your left hand in front of you. And then we'll do that on the left side. So make a semicircle with your left hand, following your fingertips with your eyes, coming in back of you, and then bringing your right hand to your left shoulder. Inhale, come back to center, both hands out in front. One time again on the right side. Bringing your hand all the way back. Return your right hand to center. And then semicircle with your left hand, following it with your eyes. Bringing your right hand to your left shoulder. And then come back to center. And drop your arms and relax. Then we'll do a few chair poses. So, and have your feet hip width apart, toes pointing to the straight edge of your mat. This one, you should keep your navel tucked to your spine, so that will support your lower back. Then drop your hips, bending your knees. You bring your arms out in front straight. And the idea is to get your thighs so they're parallel with the floor. And then come back up. We'll do that 2 more times. So bring your hands out, dropping your hips toward the floor, bending your knees. We come down a little lower and hold and breathe. And then come back up. And one last time, drop your hips into chair pose. And then come back up. Relax your arms. And we're going to bring our arms up overhead and then interlace your fingers together, and then reach your palms up toward the sky, up toward the ceiling, and come up onto your tippy toes for palm tree. And if you want to try swaying a little, usually we have our hands apart, and you can do that as well. They interlace their fingers. And then come back down, bringing your heels to the mat. And we'll try that one more time. So sweeping your hands up overhead. You can interlace your fingers or not. You're interlaced, send your palms up toward the sky, really stretch, coming up on to your tippy toes. Stretch, stretch, stretch up to the sky. And then bring everything back down to the mat and relax. The next pose is tree pose. So we can do that any way that's comfortable for you. We'll start with our left leg grounded on the mat, lifting our right foot up, and you can bring your right heel to your left ankle, and that's tree pose. Bring your hands into Anjali Mudra if that helps balance you. And you can bring your foot up to your shin level if that's comfortable, guiding your right knee out to the side of the mat. And then if you like, you can bring it all the way up to your thigh if that's doable. And then raise your arms up to the sky. You bring everything back down. We'll do that on the other side. And this helps, or maybe balance on a wall or a chair, Anjali Mudra. Bring your left heel to your right ankle and guide your left knee so it's pointing to the side of the mat. Then bring your left foot up to the shin and then up to your thigh. And then raise your arms up and over your head. And then bring everything back down. Relax. Then we're going to forward fold. So sweep your hands up overhead. And then bend at your waist, bringing your torso down toward your thighs, crown of your head down toward the mat. You bend your knees here, that supports your lower back better. And then slowly make your way back up. Bring your hands up overhead. And we'll forward fold one more time. So bring your hands down to the mat, bending at the waist. Bring your torso down toward your thighs, crown of your head down toward the mat. Then inhale, sweep your hands all the way up overhead. And then bring them back down to your side and relax. The next is something we do every week, is supported back bend. So bring your hands with your fingertips pointing down to the back of your hips. The feet are hip width apart. Relaxing your shoulders, tucking your chin into your chest. Drop your shoulders back. And remember to continue breathing. Inhale, come back up. And we'll do that just one more time. So again, get comfortable with your feet so that you feel secure on the mat. Fingertips pointing down, shoulders are relaxed, rolled back. Tuck your chin in and drop your shoulders back. Gaze up to the sky, but don't drop your head any further back or back any further. There we go. And then come back up. It's going to come into a wide-legged stance. And this is where the block will be helpful for you, or you can try it without. So your toes are pointing to the outer corners of your mat. Heels are tucked in 45 degrees. Navel's tucked into your spine. And this is wide angle stance. We're going to bring our arms up. And then we're going to turn our right foot, well, both feet actually, so that they're pointing in the same direction. In my case, I'm turning them both to the left. And then I'm going to stretch like I'm reaching for a glass of water on a shelf. And we're going to go into triangle pose. So then bring your left hand down to your left leg. Right arm stays up to the sky. And if you can, turn your gaze up to your right hand. And your left hand can be landed on anywhere on your leg or on the block or on the mat if you're able to do that. And then come back up. And we'll do that on the other side. So come back to a wide-legged stance where both your toes are pointing to the corners. Navel's tucked to the spine. Shoulders or arms are out of shoulders height. Then twist both feet so that they are turned, in my case, to the right. I'm gonna reach with my right arm toward that glass that's on the shelf, and then bring my right hand down to my right leg, sliding it down toward the floor, and looking up to my left hand. And again, the block would be handy here. And then come back up and bring your feet back together and relax. Now we're gonna, they did this in the poses in standing, and then we're gonna go into a sitting, and then a prone, which is face down, and supine, which is lying on our back. So they grouped them in that. So make your way down to your mats and come into a seated position. Come into staff pose. So staff pose, you want to make little fists and push down to the mat. Lift your hips off the mat and settle them down so you can feel your sit bones on the mat. Toes are flexed, reaching up to the sky. And that's the essentials of staff pose. I noticed on this, and there's a video, this is where I got it from. There's a video of this whole day of International Day of Yoga, yoga class. So they had their hands palmed down into the mat, and I think was kind of pushing down into the mat. So your body is active throughout, from your toes on up to your nose. Your body's active in staff pose. Then we're going to come into cobbler's pose, so bring the soles of your feet together. Knees come out to the sides. In their case, they interlace their fingers, wrap them around your toes, which we do, or we can keep them at holding onto our ankles, whichever you prefer. Key here is straight, flat back. And then just kind of tip toward the front, keeping that flat back. It's a great hip opener. And come back up. Then inhale, come down, keeping that flat back straight. Elbows reaching toward your knees. And then come back up. And one last time. Elbows go toward the knees, back stay straight, tip down toward the mat. And then come back up. We're going to extend the right leg to the end of the mat and flip our right knee up. And in their case, it's a little bit of a different twist on the twist. So you take your right hand, your left leg is up with the knee pointing to the sky. You take your right hand, you go around your left leg, and you place your right hand beside your left foot. So your right hand is touching the outside of your left foot on the mat. I know my abdomen real estate kind of gets in the way here, but this is what they did. And then you bring your left hand over to the left and create this, and it is a very good twist. And then come back to center. We'll switch legs and do that on the other side. So the left leg goes straight out, right knee's bent up to the sky. You take your left hand and you place it on the outer edge of your right foot. And then you bring your right hand in back of you and twist to the side of the mat. And then come back to center and relax. So this is where a block really will come in handy. We're going to go into hero's pose. Let me turn towards you and show you what hero's pose is. It's oftentimes we kneel with our heels underneath our hips, and that's a version of hero's pose. But the true hero's pose is extending your feet out and then sitting down on the mat in between, which I think puts a lot of pressure on your kneecaps. So this is where the block comes in. So if you sit on the block, that takes the pressure off your knees quite a bit. So this is hero's pose. And I'll turn to the side. And I'm going to do a version of cow face, which we don't usually do. I think we've done it once before. So you're going to take your right hand and go up over your head and bring your right fingertips so that they're touching your left shoulder blade. So have your elbow extended up to the sky. And if you're inclined to do so, you can bring your left hand and see if you can touch your right fingertips. But just bringing your right hand to your left shoulder blade, you'll feel that stretch right in your inner part of your arm, triceps. And then relax, and we'll do that on the other side. So bring your left arm up, bend it at the elbow, and bring your right fingertips to your left fingertips to your right shoulder. And then try to bring your right hand up to touch your left fingertips. And this, I can do that on the other side. I cannot do that on this side. I ain't sure if I'd get close on this side. And that's perfectly fine. And feel that stretch. And then relax your arms down. And then the next pose will be camel's pose. And I have a couple of variations for you. You can stay on your block. You can take your hands and point them toward your toes, putting them on the mat. So your palms are on the mat. Fingertips are pointing toward your toes and actually even touching your toes. And this would be a nice version of a camel's pose. Keep your head upright, don't let it drop back. Or if you want to go into the other version of the camel's pose, you can remove your block, bring your knees hip width apart. And then I have to tuck my toes under. I cannot reach that far down. And you could do a half camel's pose where you bring your right fingertips to your right heel, and then extend your left arm up into the sky. And then try that on the other side, bringing your left fingertips to your left heel, extending your right arm up to the sky. And this is half camel's pose. And then the full camel's pose, I bring both fingertips to both heels, and then doing a back bend. Any of the three versions be fine. I'm surprised they put that into this. Be surprised if 35,985 people could do that. So that one's there. And then our last one for sitting is wide-legged child's pose. So bring your knees to the edge of the mat, bring your big toes so that they're touching underneath your hips, and then walk your hands out, walk back. Walk your hands down the mat and bring your forehead, your third eye to the mat. or wide-legged child's pose. And then coming back up. And now we're going to go down on prone position. So come down onto your tummy. We're going to extend our arms out to the front of the mat and our feet to the back of the mat, and just kind of stretch, kind of send your hands to the front and send your feet to the back, and just give yourself a nice big stretch. Then slide your hands so that they come underneath your shoulders, fingers spread wide apart, elbows tucked to your ribs, and gently push down, come up into cobra. And then come back down, slide your hands all the way out, give yourself a nice big stretch again. And slide your hands underneath your shoulders, elbows tucked to your ribs. Push down gently to come up into cobra. And then come back down to the mat, bringing your side of your face down to the mat, and then extending your arms alongside of you with the palms facing up to the sky. This is reverse Shavasana. And lift your head and bring your head forward so it's facing forward. And lift your right leg up for half lotus. Locust, not lotus, locust. And then bring your right leg down. Left leg comes up. Try to keep your hip bones so that they're parallel or on the mat. And then back down. And we're going to lift both legs and both arms up for full locust. And then bring those back down. Bring your head back down to the other side, lying on your other cheek for reverse Shavasana. And bring your head back to center, and we'll do that again. So lift your right leg up, keeping your hips on the mat or parallel to the mat. And then bring your right leg down, lift your left leg up. And bring your left leg down. And then lift both legs and both arms up for full locust. And then bring those back down. And then relax. And we'll roll over to the other side so that we're lying on our back. So we're in mountain pose on our back. Toes are flexed, legs are active, navel's tucked to the spine. You can feel your lower back drop down toward the mat. Spine The back of your neck is nice and straight and tall. Crown of your head should be reaching to the top of the mat. And then bend your legs and bringing your feet to the mat at hip width apart. And we'll do a few bridge poses. So again, your heels are coming toward your hips. And if you can actually feel the back of your heels with your fingertips, you're in a good spot. Heels, legs, knees are hip width apart. And then we're going to, again, with your navel tucked to your spine, push down into your feet, lifting your hips up to the sky. And you can feel that stretch in your thighs. Keep your knees parallel with one another, not splayed out. Keep your head so that your eyes are looking up to the sky. Palms of your hands are down on the mat to support you. And then slowly, one vertebrae at a time, come back down to the mat. We'll do that 2 more times. So bringing your navel, tucking your navel to your spine, so your lower back's, you're making like a bowl, a scoop with your tummy there. And then push down into your feet, lifting your hips up to the sky. Knees are parallel. And then one vertebrae at a time, just gently lower back down to the mat. And one last time, tuck your navel to your spine, making that bowl effect with your tummy. Push down into your feet to lift your hips up. And then slowly, one vertebrae at a time, come back down to the mat. And then release your legs so that they're lying on the mat, mountain pose. And then just relax so that you're in a semi-shavasana state. And the last pose we're going to do is knees to chest. So bring your knees up to your chest, wrapping your hands around your knees, give them a nice gentle hug. And for this International Day of Yoga class, they brought their chin up to their knees. So you can do that if that's comfortable for you. And then slowly lower your head back down, keeping your knees over your chest. And if that's not comfortable, you can rock back and forth and maybe draw circles with your toes. We're going to do the knees, chin to knees 2 more times. So again, lift your head up, bring your chin to your knees. And then relax your head back down. Maybe rock a little back and forth. And the last one, bring your chin to your knees. And then lower your head back down to the mat. Rock back and forth, maybe draw a circle with your toes. Give your lower back a nice massage. Then extend your legs down to the mat. And we're going to take a few moments for Shavasana. So just totally relax your body, have your legs angled apart and your feet flopped open. Like bring your feet to the corners of the mat and let them just flop open. Your arms at a 45 degrees away from your body with the palms facing up, and just relax. Just kind of do a body scan from your toes up to your nose, letting everything relax. You can start to wiggle your fingertips and your toes and gently roll over to your favorite side. Come back up to a seated position. This is the order in which this class took place. So they did their asanas first, and then they went on to pranayama and then meditation. That's how they ended it. And a lot of yoga teachers follow that path as well. We go the opposite direction. So for the pranayamas, they actually talked about 4 different pranayamas and had people experience all 4 of those. The first one is the Kapalabhati, which is it's actually good to warm you up. So we're not going to do too much of that because it's pretty muggy and warm out. But it's the one where your inhale is usually the active and your exhale is usually the passive when you naturally breathe. And this flips that so that your exhale is the active one. So take your hands and you put it on your tummy. Let me get up so you can see. And you're pushing in your tummy and you're exhaling through your nose. So and the purpose of this also is to energize you, get you moving, get you grooving. So that's the Kapalabhati breath, which we've done before. This one might come in handy, it being we're on the cusp of summer right now, and it's only going to get warmer. The Sitali breath is it actually works. It cools you and it calms the mind and brings a coolness to your body. And it's done with your tongue rolled. And I know some people can't do this, but you would roll your tongue like you're sipping through a straw. and you inhale. And when you inhale, you feel that cool air coming into you. And it's really quite remarkable how that does work. So the other option, if you're not a tongue roller, you can stick your tongue out and inhale through your mouth and feel that coolness right over your tongue. So again, this one is called Satali, and you can use the tongue like the straw, and you count to 5, hold for 2, and then exhale. So you can really have that long inhale so that you really feel that cooling air coming in. Actually, I think the exhale's through your nose, although I don't have, oh no, I do have that there. Exhale through your nose. So inhale for 5 with your tongue curled, hold for 2, and then close your mouth, exhaling through your nose. So people feel the coolness of that. Yeah, it's really neat. And then Nadi Shadana, which is something that we've done often, it's the alternate nostril breathing. So you're gonna bring your hands into a Vishnu Mudra, which is bringing your index finger and your middle finger down toward your palm. So you start hands up, bring those 2 down toward your palm, leaving the other 3 extended. The thumb and the ring finger is what you're gonna bring to your nostrils. So your thumb goes on your right nostril. You would breathe through your left nostril, inhaling. When you reach the top of your inhale, you bring your ring finger to your left nostril, closing that off, and exhaling through your right nostril. And then inhale through your right nostril, leaving your hand exactly where it is. When you're at the top of that inhale on your right nostril, then you're going to switch fingers. So bring your thumb to your right nostril, exhaling through your left nostril. Leave your hand there. Inhale through the left nostril. At the top of the inhale, bring your ring finger to that nostril and exhale through the right. So the key is at the top of each inhale, you're switching fingers. And you can release that. I actually had a use for that recently when we did our walk for animals, drive for animals this year. I was all hyped up going to the event. I was like jittery hyped up, and on the way over, I was driving with one hand and doing that on the other hand, trying to calm down. Renee is laughing at me, but it's true. I was like all jitters, and I calmed right down. I was able to relax. And the last one is the humming bee, which is, I discovered this particular pranayama at on this video of the International Day of Yoga, that big event. So, I mean, we did this when we did the pratyahara, the fifth limb of yoga, which is withdrawing from the senses. So just the basic one is taking your thumbs and closing the little ear fobs in your ear so that you can't hear, and then humming. So the exhale, you're making the noise through your nose, making that humming sound. But with the pratyahara, they actually created mudra where you're putting your index fingers over your eyes, your middle fingers under your nose, your ring fingers under your mouth. Index fingers, middle fingers toward your nose, but ring fingers above your mouth and pinkies below. So you're basically shutting down your senses, eyes, nose, mouth, hearing. And then you hum. And you can release now, if you can hear me. And that pranayama they did right before they went into the last thing of the class, which is the meditation. So again, that was shutting down your senses. And then as we talked about in the last couple of weeks, the concentration and the meditation come after the withdrawal of the senses. So let's just make a few moments here for meditation. You can either use the Gyan Mudra, which is the one for concentration, bringing your index finger and your thumb together and extending. That's the traditional you see in Buddhas. Or if it's comfortable to you, the Anjali Mudra too, prayer mudra. And I don't recommend this, but if you're able to get into lotus pose, which is cross-legged position, I mean, you can if you want. It's cross-legged position, bringing your leg up and then bringing this one up over here. So this is half lotus. Full lotus would be bringing the other leg up there. And, you know, I guess that is a preferred meditation position. I don't know how, it's ouchy to me. So let's just get comfortable and do our meditation with your mudra or without, or a mantra, whichever works for you in your meditation, and focusing on your breath. We'll just take a few moments there. And then I'm going to end it with the Summer Solstice Blessing. So I'll do that and then we'll end our class. So let's just take a few moments to meditate. A summer solstice blessing. It's the midsummer's evening, the shortest of night, where our planet is blessed with the greatest of light. The sun at its power, sharing its wealth, with the earth glowing in abundance and health. The trees' leaves are green, the birds are in song. The days are as warm as they are long. We honor the animals, the plants, the living things, the sun and the water, and for the life that it brings. May you find well-being, and may you find peace in days after solstice, as the light does decrease. May the blessings of the solstice be yours, I pray, and the light warm your heart and soul every day.